Hey, it's Karlie.
Hey, it's Shamina.
And we're
Emotional. Welcome
I
to
feel like, say it.
welcome to season 3, everybody.
Oh yeah, season 3. I was gonna say, I feel like because when we try to say it at the same time, one of us gets voiced over. So we should do like we
Are
emotionful, and we'll rotate because obviously.
or we could do we are emotionful.
Okay, yeah, we could do that.
See,
For sure.
this is a creative process, live and vivo, everybody.
Yes. Anyway, so I think before we jump in to season 3, this episode, we want to thank our patrons and all of our supporters for listening to us this long that we feel like we need to make a season 3. Honestly, like I feel like if we just only had like 2 listeners, we probably would have stopped by now. But even though I still enjoy our recordings, but you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like we could just do this without being recorded. Anyways, but before we do that, we just want to update you guys on us and just kind of do our banter that we did kind of in season 1. But first shout out Joanne Stewart, Therese Gallagher, Kevin Gallagher. Thank you.
If you are interested in becoming one of our patrons, check us out on Patreon. If you are so inclined to want to support us financially, check us out, and you could be one of the lucky people that we shout out each and every episode.
Yes, and also I would like to just point out, also just sharing our podcast really means a lot to both of us.
Yes.
It makes me happy when I see like random people or our friends on Facebook share. I'm like, you the real MVPs, you know?
Support your friends. I just saw this on Facebook. Support your friends like you would support the celebrities that everybody
doesn't even know you exist. Yes. And I'm trying to be more mindful of that as well, of like, I want to start supporting my friends, but also small businesses. Like, I don't want to keep giving my money to these big I mean, I do it. I know that but I'm trying to be like these babies I got at a farmer's market. I could have easily went on Amazon and paid significantly less, but it's just like crush them. Crush the corporate America. I don't know.
Fuck the patriarchy.
But anyways, I guess let's dive into what we're doing. Shamina, do we just
So today we're going to be giving an update kind of about our lives. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute since Karlie and I have just kind of shoot the shit about whatever's going on in our lives. We usually have a theme for our podcast, as you all know. But today we are, what's the word? Improvising and going with it. So let's get emotionful.
Let's do it. Let's get emotionful.
I guess I can go.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we'll just go back and forth, but tell me what you got, girl. She's about to be a foster mom to more kittens.
Yeah, so
she's choosing this life, people. No.
The foster life chose me.
It's true.
we have 2 female cats. We have like this shed in our backyard, and so we have like these stray cats that live underneath the shed. So one female cat had 4 kittens. We got her fixed. We fostered the kittens. We got them all adopted. The OG cat, her mama, we have not been able to capture because she's very skittish, very kind of more feral than the daughter was. So this bitch had kittens again. So we're working towards the next week or so, trying to capture these ones. I made an appointment to get mom fixed, so hopefully we'll be able to catch her ass, and then no more fucking kittens because these motherfuckers are adorable. But that's a lot of fucking work.
It makes me laugh because literally whenever I see cat shit now, I think of you. And I saw this mat like the other day that said like, there's a lot of cats here or something like that. And I was just like, that's Shamina. Like,
let me even like preface, I've always been the crazy cat lady to my friends, but even
no. You've not always been. This has just started like a college.
All right.
You were not like in high school. She was the crazy dog lady. She had like 7 dogs. And then she jumped onto cats, and I don't know where I went wrong. Dogs, it's dogs. No, I'm kidding.
I have both. So even my niece, she's about to turn 2. And whenever I FaceTime her, she gets immediately when she sees me, she looks, she goes, kitty cat? Because she knows I got the cats, and I'll show her the little cats whenever we FaceTime. So now we'll be on FaceTime, and then she'll just look at me, kitty cat? And I'm like, oh my God, even my niece knows.
I know, it's so true. I'm like, but hey, whatever gets you going. I'll say it again. I've said it to you a million times. I just don't understand cats. Like, 1 minute they're cool and you can be petting them, and then all of a sudden they're like, and they're an asshole, and I'm just not with it. I'm not with it. I like my dog. She always wants to cuddle with me. She always wants hugs. She never is like, I don't need you. Like,
I will say this, I get it, but also when you have a cat, you learn to like read their behavior. So like if I go to pet my cats and
too much work.
No, it's like a kid. Like it's just like a kid. So you go.
Too much work. I got no kids for a reason, bro. I ain't got no kids for a reason.
Anyway, once you learn their behavior, you can definitely tell, like whenever we have had people over before and they don't have cats, you can tell because they're like, oh, let me just go do this to your cat. And I'm like, okay, it's your funeral. And then I recently had a friend come over yesterday and she has cats. So she's like, oh, like, let me, and I was like, okay, but he's a temperamental one. And she was like, oh no, it's fine. And it was fine. And I was like, that's a cat person. And you can totally tell Karlie is not a cat person.
I'm not. And I don't do the litter box thing. I'm not about it. Yeah. But, it's funny. It made me think because you were like, oh, it's like having kids. And, my niece was just born. And I think I told you this, but like my mom and my brother were apparently having a conversation. And my brother was like, oh, Karlie's next. She just needs to have a kid. And even my mom was like, she's not ready. And I felt that. And I wasn't even mad because it's 100% true. Because literally, like, the day before my brother told me that story, I was just walking out my house going somewhere. And to myself, I thought, this is so nice. Like, I literally can do whatever I want. Like, I don't have to worry about, like, making sure I can afford daycare at the end of the month. And, like, obviously, shout out, I love my nieces and nephew. Well, I love my niece and my nephew. And whoever has kids, like, I love them. I love children. But I just know that's not the life for me right now. Maybe in the future, I will end up having kids. I don't know, but right now I know I'm not.
I have the utmost respect for parents and appreciation because, even as a therapist, it's like I have to deal with people's emotions all day. I get to help people learn how to manage their emotions. I do love my job, but I couldn't even imagine, like, when I get off work, I'm exhausted, and then it's like people have to tend to their children afterwards. Like, I can barely handle my damn dog sometimes. And so all of our parents who listen to us, thank you for what you do. I just don't have the capacity in my life right now to be able to do those things. And I don't know how all of you do them. So kudos.
It's funny too, because also like getting off of work and like having to deal with your kids, but like, if I don't get 8 hours of sleep, don't expect me to be productive the next day because I'm going to be grouchy. I'm going to be complaining about how I didn't get my 8 hours and I'm going to be mad. And I help a friend watch her kid overnights, and the whole next day I'm so unproductive. I'm just on the couch because he's young. And there was one night every 2 hours I was up giving him a bottle, and I'm just like, bro, make your own bottle. Like, but like, obviously that's not how that works. But those were my thoughts as I'm like 2 a.m. like shaking the bottle of like half asleep. I'm like, oh, like just like I can't do it right now. I can't because I like my routine. I like that I can have 8 hours of sleep, and I'm not ready yet to disturb my 8 hours, 8 to 9 hours. I need it. I need it to function.
Yes.
I have to wake up mad early tomorrow, and I'm like, this is gonna suck. And when I say mad early, people are gonna judge me. Mad early. I have to wake up at like 7. I have a friend who's a teacher and she gets up at like 5 a.m. and like by the time I wake up, she's like almost halfway through her day. And I'm just like, absolutely not. When I was a substitute teacher, I don't know how I did it. I don't know. I mean, it was easy because I just got to choose the days that I wanted to. But if it was an everyday thing, no way. I remember one time I went and I was so hungover. And thank God I had no kids. They just put me as like, I was just like a person that like jumped in if someone needed me. So for a good part of the day, I wasn't doing anything. And I'm so happy because there's no way I would have been able to take care of children and like teach them because I was hungover. I didn't have a lot of sleep. I was just like,
this is totally off topic, but so I wanted to let everybody know because I'm a therapist and I have to do these things. Not have to, but I want to. So this episode is being released today on the 25th of September, but this Friday is October 1st. And
today's the 20th. What? I'm sorry. Say that again. Say it.
This episode is airing September, not 25th, my bad, 28th.
Today's the 26th, bro.
Yeah, today's when we're recording. This episode will air the 28th. Anyway.
Well, because she said the 25th.
Right, so my days mixed up. Anyway, this Friday, October 1st, October marks the beginning of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I just wanted to give that shout out because, I have that background in the DV and with everything kind of going on in our society as of right now. So October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. In case all of you didn't know, the color of the ribbon, because there's always a ribbon for those things, is purple.
My favorite color is purple.
Mine too.
This is like kind of on that topic, but not at all. So I know, kind of. It's like women and men, what I was talking about, because I was talking about, and domestic violence is not always women and men. I'm putting that out there too. But I last night was hanging out with a friend and we were just talking and I was saying how like, and this is me generalizing again, so don't come at me, but we were just saying how like I feel like a lot of women our age and just like in general, a lot of women are now choosing to like heal and grow and be on their own and kind of just be like badass bitches, And I was talking to her and I was like, what are these men gonna do? Like, because we're no longer going to accept the bare minimum. And like, because I was telling her personally, for me, moving forward, when I decide to date and whatever, I'm at this point where like I'm cool if I'm by myself, like I'm learning to be cool. And so I'm not just gonna accept what I used to accept. And so like I feel like a lot of women are doing this. And so it's just like, I don't know, these men out here not be doing a lot. And I just wonder they gotta step it up.
But I feel like as like a person, not even a woman, but like a person's standards like increase or they recognize like boundaries are important, my values are important, then it filters away the bullshit and it filters away like this.
It filters it away of you dealing with it, but it's still there. For instance,
that's what I mean is like stuff. But like when you get into like dating and whatever and you start like noticing these things, you're like, nope, okay, bye, nope, okay, bye, nope, okay, bye. And so when you find somebody, then what am I trying to say is like yes, I get what you're saying, but I also think that the more a person has like this insight or this empowerment, the easier it will be to kind of make these friendships and relationships, because then you'll attract kind of like that energy, or like you're not willing to accept anything less than, so you don't have to go through like the bullshit.
I'm not saying that you're going to go through it, but I'm saying like pretty much what you're saying of like, if you go out on a date and you realize this person's not on my level, you know, whether it's their, I know that I'm going to have more needs than what they're going to be able to provide. And obviously you're not able to figure that all out on the first date, but you can feel vibes and stuff like that. I'm saying though, that's what I'm saying is like, there might be a lot of first dates because we are not going to, and like, yeah, like you will get what you attract, but also when you're on like dating sites, like you don't know what you're getting. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna have to go through that a little bit of like the hey, what's up? Like, what do you like to do? You know, like, but then obviously, like if you go out, but I'm just saying, like, I'm at this place where and my friend even was like saying how not that she has no hope, but pretty much like we were talking about how she has a family member that is married, and the mom of that family member was like, I feel like I can die happy now. And it's just like the older generation, not everyone, but like some of the older generation based a woman's worth on their man. And me and her are both like, we don't see it that way. Like we own our own homes, we have careers that we're successful in, all of this, and like to us that is success, not a man that we have next to us telling us that we're success. Or like if I went home with a man and my parents were like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you now, like honestly that would probably make me want to break up with him, because it's like, excuse me, like, you know what I mean? Like I don't think so. Anyways, it was a whole thing, but me and her were just saying like me and her are both at that phase of like we've accepted if we're not going, like you don't want to have that, because then I feel like if you accept that you're going to be alone, you kind of block people off in a sense. But she's more active on dating sites than I am right now, and she's just like, but kind of contrary is we were joking about how we personally feel like women, and it might not just be women, get obsessed with a man real quick.
Okay.
You know what I mean though? Well, I feel like it's hard to talk to you about it because like you don't know. But like when I started talking to someone like a day after, I'm like, oh my gosh, like so, and then I was already like getting butthurt if like they weren't responding or things like that. And then I was like, Karlie, what? Like you don't even know this person, you know? But she was saying it too of like, it's just like weird.
But is it the person, or is it what they're providing you and that's what you like?
Well, probably, but when they're the only ones providing, you're gonna be more like hooked. Like, does that make sense?
It does, but I still think that, I don't know, this is the therapist in me that's like, but it's like the attention or the positive things, and so we associate it with the person, but like they're two separate things, because you know you can get that in like other areas and stuff. Like I get what you're saying, but also I think it goes both ways, like for anybody, because if you haven't had that type of attention in a long time, like we like that, we like to feel needed, we like to feel positive.
I think that it's I have to cut you off because I think that it's the attention, but I also think it's the new and exciting of like we're having a good conversation and I don't know you, because like me and you talk like every day and like you give me attention, I give you attention, but it's not like, oh my God, I get to talk to Sharmina today and I get to tell her about, you know, it's just not the same. Like, you know, I talk to my family every day too, and like we give each other attention, but it's like, ooh, this person is new and we're having good conversation and they're kind of mysterious. So I kind of want to know more about them. But wait, you didn't text me back for 5 hours?
But it's also different with like friendships and family. Like you're not gonna feel that way. Like I mean, it makes sense. Like, but like in a romantic setting or like a social setting, like we feel that a lot more.
Yeah, but I think if I were like, okay, one particular friend that it makes me think of is, you know, my friend up in New York. Shout out, girl. I can still remember when me and her started like becoming friends, and I was super excited to be her friend. Like, we were like, let's go skydiving together. And I feel like, obviously, I didn't feel like romantically about her, but like, I was like, oh my God, like, I'm excited. Like, she seems like a really cool person. And like, now we're like, you know, best friends, but and I can remember how mine and her, and we still even joke about how we became friends and stuff. So I don't know.
No, I mean, I get it. I think people like it's definitely happens in like social. I think more in like social settings in general, whether it's like romantic or platonic, because we do get excited. I think I get exhausted, like because I'm like I do this all damn day. Like I have to get to know people all damn day. So like it's really hard for me to make friends in general because I work from home and I'm an introvert. But then when I do, I'm like, oh my God, like this is a lot of fucking work. And I do this all the goddamn time. So it's like, let me skip the bullshit. Tell me about your fucking family. Tell me about your childhood trauma and like how are you dealing with it? And like, are we good? Can we handle that together? Like, okay, great. Then we'll be friends.
Well, it's funny. I always laugh because like when I think about it, when we get together, like the group, oh, which we need to do that. We need to figure that out. I
Spoiler
laugh,
alert.
huh?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. I laugh though because like 2 out of the 5 are therapists. I have the social work background. And then I just feel like my other 2 friends are very like, well, you guys know Steph and Michelle. They're very so Omar's a therapist, Shamina's a therapist. I have a social work background. And then Steph and Michelle, I had to think about that. They, you know, they're like deep though. They have deep conversations. So it's so funny when we get together because I know it's like what you said, like, let's just dig deep, yo. Like, but it's good. I like those conversations too. I don't know.
So let me just point out the fact it has almost been a year since Karlie has been on this journey of self-exploration, self-discovery, healing process that this has all started. I was thinking about because I was talking to one of my friends yesterday and they were like asking about you and they were like, oh, like how's she doing? And I was like, you know, it's been almost a year and it's so crazy to think of like this time last year, your ass was calling me like every day, like Shamina, I feel this way, and like crying all the time, and like I don't know what to do, and all of this stuff. And then now you're like, I'm good being alone. I went to this farmer's market today. I got these motherfucking earrings. Look at my new shirt. Like as your father says, I am woman, hear me roar.
Well, it's so funny too that you mentioned this because I was just talking about it this morning with one of my cousins about how for me, yes, it's my timeline is different. So this is how I see my timeline. Is October is when the breakup happened, but I don't think that I was 100% sold on it, although I said it. But that's when I started going to therapy. And because I was talking about this with my therapist of like, yes, October is when I decided like I'm not happy. This is, you know, but she had said like, you know, you still did a lot of back and forth with me before I was like, yes. And so for me, my timeline is yes, October is technically the official breakup, but we were still living together still. Then February was the okay, this is real. Like, this is real. I stayed with my parents until he was out. And then May was really the for me I think to help me be easy on myself when it comes to feelings and stuff, May is my date because that was when we no longer communicated. I have not had communication since May, but from October until May, we were talking. You know, he was living in my home, so from October to February, we were seeing each other every single day. But then from February until May, he still had to, I would either have to call him about mail or whatever. We were still having conversations. So I think sometimes when I look back at this year, I'm like, wow. Because sometimes, I'm just drained and I'm tired. But then I look back and I'm like, what I did in the past year, yeah, I didn't travel and everything like other people, but mentally and emotionally, I did some things. And so yeah, it's definitely a journey. It's crazy, bro. It's so crazy. Cause I think why I was telling you my time, like how I feel about the timeline is because I was telling my therapist, she was like, you have to heal organically for you. Cause I was telling her, like, I feel like I'm in this phase where most days I feel good, but then, sometimes I don't, but I feel like I'm in this weird phase of like, it's been 5 months. So it's like this awkward of like, I don't want to be like, hey, Shamina, like, I'm kind of like thinking about it again. And not just Shamina, but like my friends. And my therapist is like, why? Like, obviously, in the very beginning, you're going to talk about it all the time. And then as time goes on, there might be occasionally where you're like, hey, I need to talk about this. And I was telling her, though, like, that thing where they say, like, yeah, but when you talk about it, you give it energy. And I don't want to, but I was telling her when I think like that, but then I'm having to tell myself not to talk about it, and reminding myself not to talk about it is also giving it energy.
But I also think it's like the intention behind it is like, if you need to process something, like that's not the same thing as, before you would talk about it all the time.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's the only conversation we ever had was like your breakup, until I was like, yo, bitch, I can't fucking talk about this shit anymore. Like, tone it down. And then you were like, oh, okay. And so I think being more mindful, but it's like you're black and white, like you're going from one extreme to the other, like, well, I can't talk about it because then I'm giving it energy, but if I tell myself not to talk about it, then I'm giving myself energy. But it's like, where's your middle ground of like, you get to talk about it, you get to feel these things, and it's natural and healthy. And then I think personally, I get your timeline is like May for you, but I think for me, what I know about you is like, it did start in October, because even though like the decision hadn't been made, things weren't been final, like you went through a lot from October to May to like get to that place in that position. So from my perspective is like, things started unraveling, and for you, like this time last year.
Well, I will definitely agree that things started happening in October, and I think that my like decision to put me first and all of that happened in October. But I think like in regards of like being easy on myself with the breakup and healing from it, I go from May.
Yeah.
Because that's when I had the communication cut off and things like that. But I'll agree that like in October is when I was like, you know what? I'm tired of being unhappy and I can make this change. And I got a therapist. I really looked inward and was like, everything around me is not what I want. And I've just been allowing it because I thought that I needed a boyfriend to be happy almost, or like, or to be of like a status, I guess, So yeah, like that's when I start. And it's crazy because I've told my therapist, like, I still feel like I'm learning emotions and like how to name my emotions and accepting feeling them sometimes. Cause I still think that to this day, sometimes feeling emotions that I'm not used to, like sadness, no, but like I still struggle to like feel it or not feel it, but to know that that's what I'm feeling of like, oh, this is sadness. And so I was telling her though, like when I made that decision in October, bro, it's so crazy when you decide to put yourself first, because then you start to notice all of these things around you that are just like, whoa, because there are so many other things now, not just the breakup, but so many other things that like I'm setting boundaries. You know what I'm setting boundaries, and I'm like, no, man, I'm not gonna allow that behavior anymore. And it's hard because it's almost like that snowball effect. And I'm still trying to grasp this one thing, but it's like, oh, you're coming in. Oh, you're coming in. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, like, but it I feel like it's necessary. It has to happen, but it's just like, it's crazy, man. It's interesting. It's interesting. Some things that I thought were fine, that I didn't see an issue, you know, and now I'm like, oh no. So
No.
yeah, but I wouldn't change anything. I would still choose me because I think at the end of the day, like, even I was talking to Omar. I can say him because he's been on the group chat. And me and him were just talking about how, like, you know, like that people pleasing. And like now I'm learning to, like, if I don't feel like doing it, I'm gonna say no, bro. If I don't want to stay home and do nothing, I'm gonna stay home and do nothing. And I'm not gonna be mad, you know? And I think a lot of, like, what I was telling him is I feel like when you have friends who you're supportive, true, honest friends will understand and they won't get mad at you. You know, I feel like when you have a friend that's like, I mean, obviously, if it's like a constant thing, I don't think it's mad. It's more of like disappointed or whatever. But I just think, like, even I was telling you, like, with COVID, like, I think we forget that COVID is still a thing and like it still is causing like some like things for people.
Like
Some
anxiety.
stress and like, yeah, of like, this is kind of off topic, but I was watching Paranorman the other night when I was babysitting, and man, some of these kid movies hit home. There was a part of that. Have you ever seen Paranorman?
Probably not.
I would watch it if I were you. It's not like Inside Out or anything. Like the whole movie is not like, but it does have its like moments. If you're older, you catch on to it. But at the end, anyways, it's about this like little boy. It's a cartoon, but this little boy can see ghosts and things like that, and his family's like, Norman, what did I tell you about that? Like, stop, you know, because his grandma had passed away and she would like sit on the couch with him. They would watch TV together. And the dad would be like, is grandma here? And he's like, yeah, she's on the couch. She's like, Norman, what did I say about blah, blah, blah. Anyways, towards the end of the movie, the grandma, I think it was, one of the ghosts tells the little boy, like, it's okay to do things afraid or like to do something scared, but don't let the fear stop you from being who you are. And I was just like, that was so deep. You know, like, it's true though, because like I think in my past relationship, I was scared to almost like be alone or something. And so I was letting it change me. And I was doing things that I wouldn't have typically done. And now I'm having to unlearn those things and remind myself that I can do these things, and relearning them and doing them. In the beginning, it is going to be scary, but I it's okay to be afraid, I guess, is like something that really hit home with me, of like, it's okay to be afraid as long as it doesn't let you, as long as that fear doesn't stop you from being your true authentic self. Paranorman coming through. Shout out to whatever movie people that was.
Yes, I agree. I mean, obviously as a therapist, like wholeheartedly. Sorry, I'm
Girl.
tired. I worked all day.
I cannot wait. Okay, can I just say I'm going on part-time soon?
Yes, Carlie's very excited about lots of things today, as you can tell.
I just am so excited.
So she'll be working 4 days a week. So
4 days a week, but not even a full day, because I'm just tired of this 9 to 5 thing. Like, can we get off that train? Like, can the whole society get off that train and realize that it's not? Why do I have to give you, like, okay, I get it. There are some places that you do need to be like open Monday through Friday, but then again, like, are there really? Because when COVID happened and places started changing their hours, we adapt.
Well, it's a social construct, but I think it was built around like society at the time. So like we worked those hours because it was like sun up, sun down. And so, it was like big and like agriculture, like that's when you work, like when the sun's up, because you can't do farming or like stuff on the land if, the sun's not working. The sun's not working. The sun's not working. We're all dead. Sorry. Um, so I think we haven't, this has been established at a time when it was appropriate, but then now in this like modern day and age, we're outgrowing that. And so that's why people are like
Even
their
the
own business
40
owners,
hours.
like, setting their own hours, or it's so hard if you work 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday, like you have to take time off to do your appointments because it's like they're not open on the weekends, or they're only open on one day, but they have like a 3-month long waiting list because everybody wants a weekend. And so it's like, why can't we just change the traditional, I don't know, societal constructs that we have? They're outdated and they worked when they were established, but it's like, we live in 2021 now. We can do whatever we want, or it's online.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, but also the 40-hour work week is just like I'm sorry. Back in the day, I was trying to think of how I wanted to work. Like they had, what is that, the Labor Law Act, or I know I'm not saying it correctly, but back in the day, people were working like 80 some hours a week. And like, obviously they came up with the 40 so that you're not being overworked. But like, in my opinion, this needs to be revisited because I think 40 hours is being overworked. Like,
Well, there's
huh?
this movement right now going on in Hollywood about the production staff that are working on TV shows or movies because they're working 15, 16-hour days, like the crew, not necessarily the actors or directors or whatnot, but more so the crew, like lighting, sound,
Yeah.
costumes, like everything that goes into making this stuff. And so there's this movement right now, and a lot of the celebrities are like supporting kind of this movement of like, this is not sustainable for these people, like this is not healthy or okay.
Mm-hmm. It comes back to like a work-life balance, to be honest. And like in my personal, like ideally, I think we should all be only working 20 hours a week, but I would settle for 30. Like, and like if you're thinking about it, like really, what's the harm with 30 hours a week? Like, are you so like, and I'll say like my old job, another reason why I quit was I just felt like they just wanted this control over you. Like I've said before how we had to when we started working from home, we had to say how we were spending our 8 hours. Like we had to log our whole 8 hour day every single day, and it got submitted every single week, and it was reviewed. And if they didn't think that, if I said I spent an hour emailing, if they thought that that was too much, it would get brought up to me, and I would have to find ways how to reduce that time because they didn't think that that was like, what?
Yeah, like in the like the mental health field, in agencies, so not necessarily private practice, but in agencies, it's based off of productivity, and our productivity is how much that we can bill, so like billable hours. And so every month it was like, if you don't meet productivity, then there's some type of like consequence, or like there's some kind of reprimand. And I remember when the pandemic hit, because I was like, I have a lot more free time, I was so fixated on like, I need to meet my productivity. If I don't meet my productivity, I'm going to get in trouble. And my supervisor at the time for licensure, she was like, Shmina, that can't be your life. Like you can't be so focused on like being productive all the time. And I was like, but you don't understand, I'm going to get in trouble by work. And it was just crazy. So like, even in the mental health field, more so the agencies and like private practice, but it was all based on like, how much money you're going to be able to make for us. And if you weren't making enough money, and that's why there's like such a high turnover rate, and everybody's like overworked and underpaid.
Well, yeah, and so I'll say like my job, what I did, I had monthly goals, but there were people at my job who were like caseworkers, and so they had like that billable time and stuff. But so they would do that, like the time log thing. But then what I also thought was really like crazy to me, and I still think it because like my job now, technically it would have been in person, but with COVID, like I'm still 100% remote. And I think it's so crazy because originally they wanted us back in the beginning of September, but then with the Delta variant, they pushed it back. And it's just like, I feel like that's, to me, it's like, okay, you're like more understanding of like, they realize that the job is still getting done and whatever. Anyway, so with my past job, I quit in January 2021. I, at that time, was going to work 3 days a week. And I think it was, and I quit right before they were bringing back full time. And I personally think that they said that it was to be available for our clients. I call bullshit. I personally feel that they wanted control and they had more control when we were in office rather than when we were at home. Because if I'm being honest, I don't work there anymore. I got my job done in 4 hours. Let's be real. And you know what? I met my monthly quotas every single month and probably did better than what they wanted every single month. But I had to bullshit this 8-hour log thing and pretend that I did other stuff because they wanted all. It's just what's that one saying of like when all eyes are on you or something of like Big Joe is watching or something. It was like that. Like it was just like, bro, get over yourself. Like it was like, I'm an adult, treat me like one. You having me fill this thing out, how I'm spending my whole day is like, oh, I didn't get a bachelor's degree. Oh, I didn't get a master's degree, and I'm a 6-year-old again, and you need to watch me. Is that what you're telling me? Because I'm pretty sure I own my own home and I pay my monthly bills every single month on time, and I don't have someone at home being like, Karlie, make sure you pay your bills. No, because I'm a freaking like functioning adult and like.
Well, that's how so I quit my job at the agency in October of 2020. And the deciding factor, I remember because it was this time last year, because I had to put a month notice in. The deciding factor, we were in a staff meeting and they're like, yep, by the end of October, we're going to have you all back in person. And I said, the fuck you are. So I put in my notice at the end of the week.
I remember that because I remember you talking to me about it, how you were kind of like torn of like, do I want to make this leap or not? But I remember you were not comfortable going back, and I don't blame you. I feel like that was way too soon. And like for the people that still work at that job, good for them. But I guarantee, like, I also had issues with my supervisor, and there were several other people who did not like her as well, but they didn't speak up. And I'm sorry, but that was when I decided, Karlie, I'm doing me, man. And I let them know, because this is what blows my mind and how I know that I'm a good employee. When I put my 2 weeks notice in, the CFO, the one right underneath the CEO, she's the CFO and COO, she called my personal extension at work and was like, I saw you put your 2 week notice in, what's going on? And I was like, oh, I'm at my desk. And she's like, oh, can you not talk? And I was like, no. And she's like, go to, and she had me go to a meeting room, and she was like, what's going on? And I told her, and she was like, you are a great employee. She's like, can I put you in another department? Like, what can I do to make you stay? And I was like, honestly, at this point, like, I'm so burnt out. And it's not like I never went to anyone. I had gone to higher superiors about the issue I was having, and nothing was done about it. And I told her, I was like, I have my master's. Like, my goal is to be a supervisor, and I'm not able to in this role because my first higher up is blocking me because she knows what I'm capable of. But the fact that the COO was literally throwing options at me because she was like, I don't want to lose you, shows like, and I've seen several videos of like, you don't lose employees because of I mean, you sometimes do, but the main reason you lose employees is bad management. And I will 100% back that up. It's true. If you don't feel like you have support, why? Why am I going to stay here? Baby.
I have no words.
I'm just going in.
Season 3, Karlie goes in. Spoiler.
But don't get me started.
So that's basically our lives. I'm becoming more of a animal person, bring them all in. but don't, because I am tired and I don't want to take care of any other creatures. Karlie is on her empowerment path.
I am. And I know sometimes that it's a little strong because but it's a phase. You have to go through it. I have to go through this of like, I'm not going to take nothing from no one. And then I'll find that balance of like, oh, I do have to from some people, like there's a balance. But right now, no, I don't. No, I don't. And I'll be angry and I'm going to cry because that's what I do when I'm angry. But no, well, I do that. But I just kind of like, if I know it's a situation that I will be upsetting for me, I'm just like, I'm going to swerve that one until I'm at a point that I feel like I can handle it again.
Yes, that's the important piece. So, season 3, we are dedicating to our guests to be able to share their stories. We're creating a kind of a safe space to discuss more topics. We're super excited about the guests that we have lined up for this season.
Can I cut you off? Because I think when you say, I'm going to, because I think when you say guests, I would like to say our focus is like the community. We are finding people to be guests that we feel are, obviously if people come to us, like, hell yeah, but like we're also going and reaching out to have guests on our show from the community that we feel their stories are something we want to hear, and you guys might want to hear them too.
Yes. So stay tuned for everything we have coming. Season 3, we're super stoked that we're even doing a season 3, because I didn't anticipate like, let's start a podcast, and now we're on like season 3, and I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing.
Can I ask you, Shamina, does your partner say stoked? Because you say it a lot, and I'm curious if it's a you thing or if, because you know how you pick up language sometimes when people, because didn't you say like, I say bro all the time now because you say bro. Is stoked your thing, or do you get it from someone?
I think it's mine. I don't think anybody I know says stoked, because I run out of words. Like, because even as a therapist, like my clients say like good things, like I'm like, that's awesome, good for you, like I'm super excited, and so I run out of words to convey what I'm trying to say, because I don't want to say the same thing over and over. So right now I'm on my stoked.
There's nothing wrong with stoked. I was just curious because it's like not a common word.
I don't think I've ever heard my partner say stoked. So
we're super stoked.
Super stoked. And I just like the alliteration. Like my name is alliteration. I've always liked alliteration. So anytime that I can use that, I will.
I say cool beans.
I say cool beans.
No. I say sweet beans because I think cool beans is said a lot. So sometimes like when someone says something, I'm like, oh, sweet beans, thank you. And they're like, did you just say sweet beans? I'm like, yeah. Like,
I've never heard you say sweet beans.
Really?
Never in my life. Anytime I think cool beans, I think of kitty cat toe beans.
I don't know what that is.
On cat's paws, the little pads on their paws, they're called toe beans.
I'm sorry. Did we not just talk about how I'm not a cat person? I'm not going to know toe beans, but I say sweet beans.
I've never heard you say sweet beans ever.
Well, it has to be the right moment. So I'm not like, usually it's like when I'm talking to like a customer service something, I feel like that's how I'm like extra. I'm like, oh, sweet beans, thank you. Or like, I used to say it a lot at my old job when I would talk to clients. I'm like, sweet beans. But I guess maybe with my friends, I don't say it, but like customer service people, I say sweet beans.
Interesting. Now I know.
Yeah.
So sweet beans, everybody. Toe beans.
Sweet beans.
For my kitty cat people.
Stoked. Woot woot.
Stay tuned for what we got coming. Season 3. We're super excited to be in this position and share these stories with all of you guys, because they really impact us. And so I hope that you get something from them as well.
Yeah, so we are so stoked to be able to just keep recording. I mean, we're here. Let us know if
Probably
you
could
want.
be a one-woman show if I wasn't here. She could just talk for an hour straight about her. She'd get on her soapbox, talk about what she wants, and be done. So
It's true. Honestly, when you started to like close up, I had to look down and I was like, oh, we've been talking for like an hour. I was like,
I'm like, therapist, an hour, let's go. I'm done.
I could have easily kept talking for like another hour and not even noticed. But
I'd like to know how your therapist like ends your sessions is like, make this bitch stop talking. Like, I gotta go.
no, she looks at the clock and then she's like, oh, I gotta go. And I'm like, okay. And then she's like, and then I'm like, see you next week or whatever. But I know it because she'll look at the clock and then she'll be like, oh, I gotta go. And I'm like, okay, like I got out what I needed to say.
Wow. You should just keep track of the time so you see it too.
I usually do. I try to, but I also just talk. And like, I think we'll talk about this in another session, or another session, look, well, technically this podcast started for me to have a therapeutic spot, so.
That was a Freudian slip. Karlie views me as her therapist, even though I'm actually not. Freudian slip.
Maybe in the beginning I did, but not anymore. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe subconsciously you are my therapist.
I was your emotional support. How about that?
You and Blue.
Friends, PSA, pro tip. Your friends are not your therapist. Go see a licensed professional because that is their job, and your friends get exhausted listening to all of your stuff all the time. I promise.
Except for me.
I promise. So, see you next week.
Swerve. We just ended this on such a diss on a burn. I'm not bad. Anyways, are you emotionful?
Oh yeah, are you?
Are you? Shamina was so worried about talking trash about me that she freaking forgot our podcast.
I was like, we usually do something at the end, but I don't remember what it is.
Social medias, Instagram, Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I worked 5 hours today, bro.
I'm kidding.
Now who's dissing what I do for a living? Anyway, follow us on our Facebook at Emotionful Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Emotionful Pod. Like, comment, subscribe on the video below. And
can someone comment? Because I like when we get comments, even if you
just say hi or like good video or I don't
trash. No, I'm kidding. Don't be mean. But just like
positive
smiley face.
Yeah. Let us know that you're there. Interact with us. We want to know that you're there because we do this for us, but also for the people.
Yeah. How about this? Put a smiley or put something. And that means we'll know you got to this point because we asked you to comment and then you did it. Yeah. Ooh, so then we know who really listens to our full episode.
Yes. And we'll figure out something else to do. We'll give you a shout out, not necessarily, maybe not like a personal, but like, hey, for the people who commented, like, we appreciate you. We see you all.
And maybe we'll say your comment. I think we can do that. Yeah. Or we could shout you out. We'll do it separate from our patrons.
That's a good idea.
And we won't do it like every episode. It'll just be like a 1 episode thing. This is our challenge for the week.
Challenge for the week. Either comment on this video below or on Instagram, because we always post our videos on Instagram, or on Facebook. Let us know that you've seen it.
Yes. Ooh, we spicy.
I'm still waiting for somebody to snap like me.
All right, let's wrap up.
Bye.
Bye.